Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on to today's first story. Now today's first story comes from Throwaway Wedding Dress, who says, "My mother-in-law cut up my wedding dress. I hate her so much, I don't know how to move on." And just a warning before we do get into it, there is mentions of abuse and there is talk of suicide as well. So just wanted to give you those warnings in case you want to use the timestamps and skip the story, totally up to you. This might sound petty or like something I should just move on from, but I just can't. My mother-in-law was always kind of off to me. I wouldn't say we had a bad relationship, but she wasn't very welcoming or interested. When I got engaged, she didn't seem happy for us. I didn't include her in wedding planning much because we weren't close. Mother-in-law's mum asked me to, so I included her in one thing and she didn't speak the whole time. I stored my dress at their house. Father-in-law said it was okay. Then I got a call a couple of days before the wedding that she had cut the dress into a million pieces. I literally felt like I was going to throw up. In my mind, no one could be that evil and the dress was fixable. So we went over there and no, she legit cut it into a million pieces. I really think if my husband didn't hold me back, I would have fought her. We still got married, but I had to wear a cheap replacement and I couldn't stop crying the entire morning, so it was ruined for me. Mother-in-law said she did it because she didn't get a wedding and because she never got her turn and nothing was ever about her. She didn't seem to feel bad. She seemed kind of in shock she had done it, but no remorse. Trigger warning. The day after she did it, she attempted suicide and was brought to the hospital. She got 30 days inpatient and I don't know the details, but her dad was arrested because of something she said. Father-in-law was also taken in for questioning but released, and she filed for divorce the day she got out. Mother-in-law and I are pretty much no contact, but I occasionally see her at family events. She apologized once but didn't seem sorry, and when my husband said he didn't want to talk to her, she didn't seem to care. She no longer talks to my husband or her daughter, but like I said, we see her occasionally, and I've heard she was in intense therapy for about a year. She just got engaged and the ring is huge and gorgeous. Guy seems perfect and I'm just so overwhelmed by how much I hate her and how angry I am. People keep saying it wasn't her fault, she was sick, but I'm at the point where I don't even care. So then people were confused in the comments about missing info, and so they fished out a bunch of OP's comments to try and fill out some of the gaps, which said, "I don't know what her father was arrested for. I know she was a child model and her parents have mooched off of her. In her words, she was held hostage and robbed and she feels father-in-law abused her." When she said she never got her turn, I think she meant because of the modeling and pageants, she was never allowed to have friends, go to prom, go to school, or have a wedding. She was pushed to work super hard. I know I suck for even caring, but her fiance threw her a huge 50th surprise party, like wedding sized, and she full on broke down sobbing. So I think she just really wanted a party. I will look into court records. Father-in-law spoke to her horribly, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was abusive. I really don't know about the father except the money thing, and she always had a weird relationship with them. She was always cold and uninterested in her kids, claimed they didn't like her but never tried to bond. Her dad is still in jail. She talks to her mum but literally winces if her mum tries to touch her. I heard the fiance and mum getting into it once and him telling mother-in-law to just scream and embarrass her if she keeps touching her. One of the worst things I remember was her birthday party. She was not allowed to eat the cake and was given a spoon with frosting to lick. She got frustrated because they laughed at her and threw the spoon at father-in-law. She was then berated for being violent. I wanted to intervene, but my husband didn't think it was our business. Her behavior was always off. I know she pulled out of school to model, but I could tell she had not been properly socialized, and father-in-law would tease her about how awkward she was. She talked a lot about not wanting her kids, wanting to run away. She was always saying her kids didn't deserve the stuff they had, but at the time, I thought she was being manipulative. She worked non-stop, like a really unhealthy amount. She owned her own business and talked about it being her baby, the only thing she loved. I saw her get gaslit a lot. Father-in-law would tease her until she cried, and then him and her parents would berate her for being emotional. The day she cut the dress, father-in-law told her after the fact she didn't get a wedding because she is a whore, and he would not let us talk to her about it. Also, I feel like her parents kind of gaslit her because they were always saying she is so dumb or so irrational. I feel in hindsight like they were just justifying not giving her any freedom. I feel sick just typing this out, and there were times I wanted to stick up for her, but I was told to mind my own business. The next comment said her perspective is that she was held hostage, starved, not allowed to do normal things, and emotionally abused by father-in-law in front of the kids, which is why I tried to give her some benefit of the doubt. Father-in-law always talked horribly to her, so I'm sure he was worse behind closed doors. I don't think the two of us should ever talk again. I try to pity her and not just hate her. I get the impression she was somewhat held hostage, but I can't forgive, and I think her attitude towards her kids is gross. She never bought us a house. That was going to be the wedding gift. She bought it for her daughter. Some of the things can't be given back. His education, vacations. I don't have anything tangible to give her. He has clothes and watches from a while ago. We haven't seen her in years, so I really don't know what the right thing is, but I will talk to him about the cost of the wedding, dress included, mother-in-law paid for. She paid about $60,000, which honestly we do not have the means to pay her back. Not that I think money would help her. I have no idea how much she spent on clothes. Father-in-law used to hand us credit cards and tell us to go shopping. He did have a job as well, though nowhere near what she made. Don't know what the watch cost, but it was a designer and a graduation gift. And as you can imagine, after the initial post, without the extra comments, people were like pretty much against mother-in-law, saying, cut up her wedding dress, sabotage her wedding, karma will get her, all this sort of thing. But then once the comments were added, the whole mood in the comments kind of switched around and said, mother-in-law has been abused for years. She's been used to provide for everyone, but then abused for it at the same time. Her birthday, she didn't get one. She was given a spoon with frosting on. Everyone laughed at her. She's been expected to pay for everything, the houses and the weddings and all this kind of stuff, and never got any of that for herself. She didn't have friends, and she wasn't even allowed to go to prom. And then people were talking about OP then complaining about their wedding dress and having a lack of empathy towards mother-in-law and what she went through. So then the update comes in a week or so later, which says I was shocked by how much the last post blew up and how much empathy I got. I thought a lot more people would say suck it up, it was only a dress. Truly, thank you. And I am looking into booking a therapy appointment to talk about how much anger I have over this. A couple of people pointed out that if I wanted to know why my mother-in-law's dad had been arrested, I could look it up online. I wasn't aware of how easy it was to find that stuff, so my husband and I discussed it and we both wanted peace of mind. I looked it up and it was not what I was expecting at all. I'm not going to go into too many details because if someone recognizes this is not my story to tell. It is mother-in-law's, but pretty much she was forced and potentially sold into marrying father-in-law. We both immediately felt sick because we let father-in-law and mother-in-law's mum around our toddler son. We are still close to father-in-law and our son adores him. I really felt like for my son's sake I needed clarity. I asked the cousin mother-in-law was close to if she could convey to mother-in-law that we had some questions and wanted to talk. Mother-in-law has blocked us on everything and changed her number. I mentioned that I tried looking her up on social media and couldn't find her. The cousin told me it is because mother-in-law took her new husband's name, which I didn't know they were married. And the cousin started talking about how beautiful the wedding was. I originally had heard they were going to elope, but she said that was because mother-in-law thought it was tacky to have a wedding past 30, but he convinced her she should have the wedding she always wanted. It really did feel like a punch to the gut, and I know I have a lack of willpower, but when the cousin brought out her phone, I didn't stop her. I vowed it would be the last picture of her I ever looked at, and then seeing her in a white dress just really hit me that it isn't fair. I don't know what I expected. She modeled for a long time, she works in high-end fashion, but the wedding pictures were gorgeous and it really pissed me off. Anyway, the cousin let me use her phone. I told mother-in-law what was going on and that I needed clarity and to know the exact details of who was safe around my son. Mother-in-law agreed to meet up. I felt my heart sink, but I thought maybe I would get closure. We met at a coffee place. They were already there when we walked in, and the first thing out of mother-in-law's mouth was that she still wants to be no contact and she just wants to be abundantly clear there will not be a relationship. Fine. We didn't want one either. Mother-in-law answered my questions. It was really hard, but grandmother-in-law and father-in-law can't see our son anymore. They just can't. I don't think they are safe people. The mother-in-law provided evidence for the stuff she was saying, which honestly made me sad for her because I never doubted. Mother-in-law then brought up the wedding dress on her own. She said she snapped because it was another thing she was forced to pay for, and she was tired of working so hard so everyone else could have things she couldn't. She felt that we watched and aided in her abuse, which I don't think is fair because there were a lot of red flags, but a lot of stuff we didn't know about. Pretty much all of this abuse was a way to keep her under control so her parents and father-in-law could take her money. The mother-in-law did not want to pay for the things she did for her kids, such as wedding, cars, and a house for sister-in-law. She brought up that she never got her turn because she was drugged and sedated when she married father-in-law. She never got to do stuff like proms or birthday parties because of modeling, and she said cutting the dress was cathartic. My husband pretty much told her to shut up because he knew it was upsetting me. Mother-in-law's husband pointed out that we pulled up in a car she bought and said we are both pieces of shit for still driving it. Mother-in-law was quiet for a little while and just put her head down on him. It was super awkward and I wanted to leave. Finally, her husband said that it's kind of funny because everyone got what they deserved. She finally got her wedding and I knew he was implying we got what we deserved. He asked if she wanted to go and she said yes, and walked out without saying goodbye to my husband. On one hand, I understand that mother-in-law did not agree to have him and views him as something she was forced to do, so her parents could control her money. But it makes me mad that she acts like he was a partner in this crime. We are going to have to cut a lot of people out. There are a lot of details I didn't share and they just aren't safe people. What happened to mother-in-law is like something out of a horror movie. They all know, but gaslit her for years. Honestly, I wish her the best in the sense that she deserves a life, and I know a lot of people are skeptical about the new husband, but he seemed very sincere. I wish her the best in life, but I'm pissed she got the wedding after she ruined mine. I told the cousin that I do not want any more updates, and for my mental health, I will no longer attend events she is at. And when they were describing this coffee shop scene, I felt very much almost there with them in that particular moment, and listening to mother-in-law explain the abuse that she went through, the way that she was controlled for her money, drugged and sedated when she married father-in-law, and how she never got to do anything. And then her son, OP's husband, turns around and tells her to shut up because it was upsetting OP. Not, oh fuck's sake, sorry mum, I can't believe I've missed this. I don't know how you can miss it, but I can't believe I've missed all this. No empathy towards the situation, no empathy towards his own mother. And then OP was shocked that, she got up and walked out without saying goodbye to the husband, and then goes on later to say, but it makes me mad that she acted like he was a partner in this crime. But in the first part of the post, literally said that I wanted to intervene, but my husband didn't think it was our business. And I think all we can wish after this story is that mother-in-law now is hopefully living her best life, whatever she's doing. It sounds like she's got a wonderful partner at the moment who is taking her past into account and trying to make her life as happy as it can be, giving her the wedding that she deserves, that she really deserved. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. And our next story is a bit of a lighter story from the Today I Messed Up subreddit from Slim Valley, who says, "Today I messed up by going on a date with a girl from Tinder who seemed way too good to be true, not seeing the red flags. I, 23 male, was talking to this girl, 23 female, for a week on Tinder and Instagram. She was gorgeous and she seemed very fun and outgoing, but she did have an investment girl boss vibe to her. And that's okay, but I should have seen it coming. I asked her for a coffee date and she says yes. We meet up and she looked good, but not exactly like her photos. No problem there. Let's see if we connect, I thought. Before we go any further, when it said girl boss vibe, I got a feeling I might know where this one is going, but I'll hold off till the end. I don't want to spoil it for you. The first 10 minutes goes great. Conversation is flowing and I asked her if she wants some coffee. After all, we're at a coffee shop on a coffee date. She says no, because she had some earlier. First red flag. I mean, who goes on a coffee date but drinks some just before the actual date? A tells me to go and get one for myself if I want. Alright, no problem. I go and get my coffee, and when I come back, there's another girl at our table. She says, "Hey, this is my partner. We call her B." I was working with her earlier. That's when it hit me that this wasn't a date. B starts asking me questions about my job, my studies, and asks me if I would listen to their business plan so I could make more money each month. Lol. So she takes out a notepad and starts explaining me their business model and how much money I would make if I would find 3 other people who would find 3 other people themselves, etc. I straight up tell her, so this is like a pyramid scheme, right? This ain't no date. To which A responds, "Oh, it is a date, but you seem like a cool person to become our partner." Lol, what? And this isn't a pyramid scheme. Oh wait, I gotta say this right. Oh, and this isn't a pyramid scheme. It's multi-level marketing, an MLM. Okay, so exactly the same thing. I couldn't believe that this was happening to me. Oh boy. So I sat there for a legit 15 more minutes and listened to them explain to me how I could make up to 5k a month if I were to get 100 people to join the business. I told them I had to leave to go to the vet with my dog. They didn't seem happy that I wasn't interested in their MLM. I laughed so much on the way home that I was crying. Edit 1, thank you so much for the awards, upvotes and comments. I did report A's profile on Tinder as spam as soon as I got home. The product they were trying to sell was some vitamins, proteins, omega-3 tablets and some very good collagen. Lol. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. I've heard people about like going on dating apps and then turning up to try and be sold some shit. It reminds me of a program that we got in the UK. It's called This Country. I don't know if you've ever seen it. And basically there's 2 youngsters in the country and they ain't got much job opportunities and they don't know much about town life and what's going on social media and all this sort of stuff. And there's one particular episode where one of the characters, Kerry, gets a business opportunity in a seminar where she goes with everyone, pretty much everyone in the village is in this hall, and there's this woman, you know, the typical boss babe, but the actor was just like you'd expect to see it, like in your head. And someone questions and they go like, "Isn't this just a pyramid scheme?" And she goes, honey, this is a multi-level marketing. Let me show you the graph," and then shows this graph and it's an upside down pyramid. Then she goes on to tell him about how you can earn like 5k a month or something around there, and she goes at the end of it, "As long as you've got that £250 startup fee." And I was surprised in the comments below this one. There was loads of people who've been through exactly the same thing. They're going on these internet dates and finding themselves trying to be roped in to a pyramid scheme. And that must be absolutely infuriating. You know, I had a little chuckle during the story, but it must be absolutely infuriating. And in a sad way, there is going to be people that is going to be caught up in this. When I used to be on Facebook a couple of years back, there was always one person I know, and they was huge into MLMs. They wouldn't admit it, you know. It's not a pyramid scheme, it's multi-level marketing and all this sort of stuff. She's got the pictures to prove it, you know. And they went through like multiple of these MLMs, or they were involved in multiple, like the makeup ones, the candle ones that sell infusers and stuff like that, essential oils that can seem to cure everything. And they absolutely convince themselves that they're going to make a lot of money, or they are making a lot of money. And once she revealed how much she was making, she showed her monthly statement on her Facebook profile. And from spamming, you know, her own Facebook profile all month, trying to get her friends and family to buy products, I think she made like $250 or something like that. And guess what she did with it? She bought more makeup from them. Absolute predatory companies. And I truly believe that she was convinced she was changing people's lives, empowering people, with the marketing bullshit that they gave her to spam on her own profile. But bloody hell, I've gone off on there. I'm sorry. What do you guys make of this particular story? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Have you ever been hit by an MLM on a date? Let us know your thoughts, and just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today. Getting involved in the stories, your love, support and time always means the absolute world, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just